Well, guys, hello. Welcome to Hair Metal Mixtape, guys. Thanks for doing this pre-record thing, man. I'm glad it worked out eventually.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks a lot, brother.
Yeah, I feel like it's been a long time coming, man. I've been a fan for a while, so it's kind of like, damn, when am I going to get this together with you guys, you know?
Oh, man. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah. Are you guys, wait, somebody's in Michigan, right? And somebody's in Florida, I think. John, you're in Michigan?
Yep.
Todd, you're in Florida?
Yes, I am.
I think I read somewhere too, they were saying that you were living in Alaska.
Yep, that's my wife is in the Coast Guard, so we were there for 3 years, and now we're here for 3 years.
Woo!
Yeah, big difference.
Yeah, right. Jesus Christmas. That's awesome, man. So from my understanding, you guys have known each other for like what, 30 years, I read, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, we go back to school. Met Todd when we were both still in high school. So yeah, I think it's got to be close to 30 years now.
Wow. So you guys have been playing together pretty much the whole time, huh?
Yep.
Yep. There was a time where we weren't for probably 10 years or so, but other than that, we have been.
And I think even in that 10 years, we were still kind of, we were still friends. We were still listening to each other. Todd was in a band at that time. Was that when you were in Mali, Todd?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Todd was in a kind of a pop punk band called Mali, and I was a huge fan of theirs. So we were still friends. Obviously, I was still getting the records and listening to his songs. And he had probably one of the coolest bands around at the time. They were just the coolest thing ever.
That's awesome.
Unfortunately, John worked at a music store, so I could just go there and hang out with him, and it was right down the road from where I lived. So we still kept in touch.
That's how
a lot of listening parties when I was supposed to be working,
Yeah. You got to try out all the merch, right? You got to make sure it works.
Right.
So what was your go-to music when you guys started playing together? Like, what were you guys listening to at the same time or decided to play together? What was the stuff?
I remember our mutual love for Pretty Boy Floyd.
Awesome.
And we went and saw Tough together, in 92 or something like that. And
we were
it was all hair metal
fans.
Yeah. But 92, man, you're keeping it real because that's when Eddie Vedder and the whole band was coming out and carpeting all of us.
Oh yeah.
And we I think when we saw Tough in 92, that was that What Goes Around, Todd? That was that tour, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, so maybe it was a little earlier than that.
Yeah. But it was kind of at the tail end of what we came to call the hair metal scene then. But I'll tell you, when I met Todd, one of the first times I ever went over to his house. Now, everybody's got rock and roll posters up in their bedroom when they're young. Todd is the only guy I'd ever been to his house that didn't have a single open spot, a wall or ceiling. I'd never seen that before. The dude had, it is, and Todd, you can stop me if I'm wrong, but Warrant was one of Todd's biggest bands. So he had all these cool Warrant posters and cool Ricky Rocket and Poison. And we just, we went to a high school that there were a lot of, there were a lot of people who liked that stuff too, but really hard at that time, thrash and harder metal was the thing. And Todd and I were, I can remember in 1987, I had a custom painted Faster Pussycat jacket. So that'll tell you where my head was at, And
I had a custom painted Enough's Enough jean jacket.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I saw them in Newark, New Jersey, man, at Studio One. And it was just like,
wow.
The album.
When would you say that was?
When the first album first came out.
89 or something.
Yeah, because this club was like what, 200-300 people, maybe. Like,
wow, cool.
That was pretty awesome. And I remember because a friend of mine was just like, yo, you want to help my friends set up the drum kit? And I was like, yeah, man, totally. So for the opener, it was this big fucking cage kit. It was humongous. I'll never forget that. But then we saw Enough's Enough at the end of the night, and I was just like, holy shit, those guys are rock stars,
Yeah, right.
They had it together.
Oh, they were one of the, out of that scene, I still think they had some of the best songs, the best songwriting, the best melodies, the best hooks. They were top notch, especially to Todd and I. We both, and I'll be honest too, for me, some of these bands too, I based a lot of it on how cool they looked, and I just thought Enough's Enough was the coolest looking thing ever, you know?
Yeah. Or the cover of Look What the Cat Dragged In. It's kind of like, holy, what? Wait a minute. I really like this. Why do I like this? You know?
Yes.
That's awesome. So basically, like, it seems like Ghosts of Sunset was like a pandemic creation, but I mean, it seems like a no-brainer, like what you guys have been listening to.
It really was.
It was pre
pandemic
because I was still in Michigan at the time. So it was probably 4 years before the pandemic, I think, that we started working on stuff, I think.
Right. And it was kind of a, you know, Todd and I I think even at that time, we had a hair metal cover band that was playing all the Enough's Enough and LA Guns and Faster and all that. And then I said to Todd, I called him up and I said, you know what would be cool? I said, if we could do a hair metal concept album, like, and you know, and it ended up being an EP. Within 24 hours, Todd had sent me the music to Miles in Between, the first single we had on Golden Robot. So when that happened and the music was so cool, and I was like, man, okay, this just got super real, you know? And we got really excited about it then, I think.
And that was called Headed West, right?
Yes. Yep.
Right. And I know that when, you know, from top to bottom on the EP, we wanted it. The first song is very raw, where it's like you know, just two guitars, bass and drums and vocals. And we wanted that to be like, you know, early Van Halen on the Strip. And then it just kind of, production got a little better. We tried to stay true to like the production and the times, I guess, from early to, you know, the newer like Bon Jovi stuff.
And you guys had a lot of guest players on there, right?
Oh yeah, we had Stacey Blades was on there, Johnny Monaco,
Brian Forsythe from Kicks.
Yep. Tracy Guns.
Yep.
And Ryan Roxy.
You know, all guys. How'd you get them all?
Okay, how'd you get them all? Yeah.
We kind of called and just said, hey, you know, if you know, Todd is the guy in your band who makes things happen. He really is. You know, he's always been that guy. But we kind of gave him the idea, you know, like, hey, if this is something you like, we'd love to have you play a solo on it, or we'd love to have you play bass or whatever it was. And as soon as people started saying yes, I think that's when Todd and I started going, okay, what started as songs we were going to have, you know, for our friends to listen to, we started to go, maybe other people might dig this stuff too, you know?
Yeah, man. And now pretty much like a year later, right, you have this new album, No Saints in the City, which just came out this past March. First of all, congratulations, man. It's a fantastic album.
Thank you.
And how would you say it's different from the EP? Like, does this have a concept behind it, or like, were you guys just kind of just rocking out with your guitars out?
Yeah. I don't think we started with a concept per se, although Todd and I always have conversations, you know, things like, I know we did talk, didn't we, Todd, about New York City, the new moving the whole thing a little more East Coasty. And then we started talking about bands like the Dolls and, you know, Hanoi Rocks and things like that. That really started things. And then, you know, I think we just on No Saints in the City, we started to open up to more influence. You know, we weren't as confined as we were maybe with Headed West. And I think you can hear it. I think you hear the progression from Headed West to No Saints in the City. There's a lot of different music. I mean, we name check stuff all the time, you know, and do that with some pride. I think we're not embarrassed of our influences or the fact that, you know, it's not like Todd and I get together and go, well, we have to reinvent music today. You know, I mean, we don't do that, but we definitely have times where we're like, hey man, let's give the chorus a big Jovi feel and bring those verses down and get an acoustic guitar in there. That'll be a little Tesla-y or whatever it might be. And then on No Saints in the City, that just opened up wider and we started to bring in all sorts of because Todd and I like all sorts of music from, 60s rock and roll, and Todd grew up his parents in a musical household too. I know Elvis Presley was huge in Todd's house.
Yeah.
So we opened up to everything, man. And if it's cool, if it's Taylor Swift's 1989 album is cool, and so is, Strength by Enough's Enough. And those things come out in all of it, I think.
Right. Yeah, I mean, in a great way. That's what I also felt with the new album. It was kind of like every song you can tell, like you almost reach into like a recipe book or something. You're like, you know what, let's throw a little bit of this in there, and you can tell in a really tasteful way. No pun intended, but I mean that's when the certain song comes on. You're like, oh, this is the blah 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 song. This is great. They pulled it off. It's fucking cool, man.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
There's a song on there called on the new album called Puzzled Heart.
Mm-hmm.
And when John wrote it, he's like, it's very, enough's enoughy. And in this part, I wanted it to be, more like Gene Loves Jezebel or something, off the wall like that. It was very cool. We have like our own lingo on how we talk about songs and stuff.
No, that's great, man. And like right before this interview, I'm going to be playing No Saints in the City, which I believe is the latest release for you guys. Tell me about
that's the title
song.
track.
Yeah, and tell me about that song.
Yeah, No Saints in the City is the title track on the record. It's kind of about going to a metropolitan area to make it, no matter what your thing is. It could be art, it could be acting, dancing. For us, it's rock and roll. But and Todd can attest to this because Todd did go out to Los Angeles. He went out to the scene, to the Strip. When you get there and you're from, the small town in Michigan that we're from, there's no one there who's going to slide a pizza under the door. You know what I mean? You gotta kind of do it on your own.
Work it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But by the time I got out there, that whole scene was dead. That was like 95, I think, that I went out there. I didn't graduate till 92. So I think it was like 1995.
Okay. Yeah. That's kind of like, it was a dark time.
Oh yeah. I remember seeing flyers and paintings on the ground for Big Bang Babies.
Oh,
so,
wow.
So they must have been like the only glam band left out there.
the last stand.
The last heels.
Yeah, right. Right.
So later on in the mixtape, I'm going to be spinning the opening track Tonight. And I mean, it seems self-explanatory, man, but like, tell me a little bit more about that song. Cause that's got this, like, it's a great opening song.
Thank you. What do you think, Todd, do you remember what we talked about in Tonight?
I just remembered it was like, we wanted something punky, like the New York scene, but I don't remember much more about that.
I know we were name checking. Like I said, we wanted that feel, that a heavy adrenaline, a real street level feel, because those two, the East and West Coast scenes, the West Coast was definitely sunnier and glammier and a little brighter. The East Coast scene where you had bands, even Twisted Sister and Skid Row. Circus of Power. Thank you.
All right.
So those were a little grittier, and we did make a conscious effort on Tonight to make it straight up, gut level rock and roll, street stuff.
Yeah, we can't forget Warrior Soul.
Warrior Soul, who Todd and I both loved. Loved that band.
Deep cut there.
Yeah.
So
you guys done releasing singles from this album?
Yep, it's all done as far as we know. So.
Yeah, we're actually setting up a meeting with the label here probably in the coming weeks to see what the next move is. But we're 5 songs into the new record already.
Awesome.
And the new record, again, it still sounds like Ghosts of Sunset, but I think, everybody says this, right? Everybody goes, oh, this new thing we're doing is so great, right? But I think it opens up even more influence. It's definitely, there's a couple tracks that have more of even a new wave feel, and I don't want to, it doesn't sound like the Knack, but it's got, more of a Hanoi Rocks feel, more of an English feel. But, we're really, for Todd and I, the beautiful thing of 30 years of partnership and friendship is if I say to Todd, I want that drum break to sound like the first Faster Pussycat album.
Right.
Todd doesn't have to go, oh, I guess I better go find what that album is. Todd Long, it's in his DNA.
Yeah, he just dials it up.
Yep, he just dials it up. We've even talked about it. Like if we brought other people into Ghosts in the writing process and recording. And the thing is, it's so easy for us because we speak the language. I think there's some trust between us. I certainly, for me, I'm always my number one goal is to impress Todd Long. I want Todd to like the songs, because I've been a fan of his for so long that his taste means a lot to me. So if he gets excited, then I get really excited. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's even some new songs that remind us of like early Faster Pussycat. It's kind of super sleazy sounding, and
that's great, man. Those guitar sounds, those tones were like
Marshalls and Les Pauls, man. Marshalls and Les Pauls.
That's it, man. And like you guys collaborating, of course, but you guys also have been collaborating with like everybody. I mean, it just feels like
Todd has been involved with Wild Street lately. Eric and Todd have partnered up on some stuff, and I'm sure you've heard some of it. It's really good.
Yeah.
We met Eric kind of through Ghosts, and we did collaborate with Eric on a song that we did for charity during the pandemic called All I Want to Do Is Rock.
Right.
And I mean, those guys, and I see the album behind you.
Yeah, I'm trying to represent tonight.
Those guys are out. They're out flying the colors, man. I mean, they are out.
Yeah, right. They're going for it.
The time. And you see the videos all the time. They're just slugging it out live. They're a cool live band. They look great. The songs are catchy as all get out. The 69 Eyes cover is killer.
Yeah.
They're just such a cool band,
Yeah, and Eric just keeps going forward no matter. He's just like, you either in, you're out. I got a new band or not. I'm going to keep going.
We talk about him all the time. Like the dude is just a trooper, man. I don't think he can be deterred from his path. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like you said, you either get in and buckle up, or you're gonna fall off, and he's gonna grab someone else, and they're going.
He reminds me of dudes like David Coverdale, or like people who just
it's my band, and
exactly. They just keep moving forward. It's their project, whether you're in or out. Boom, Right.
Well, right now he's got a really solid lineup. He's excited about. They just got a new drummer.
Nice.
And they're out. I know he was looking for guitar players for a while, when Dominic left, and they've got a solid lineup now, and I know they're playing somewhere tonight. You know what I mean? So they're
social
only
media tomorrow.
They're only getting better with their new live lineup. So I know he's excited, and he and Todd collaborating is a partnership that's turning out. And these are two guys who can write a catchy chorus. You know what I mean?
Right. Totally.
I mean, he's played on our stuff too. The song "Look Me Up If You Come Down" or "When You Come Down." I can't ever remember what the title, but he played the solo and sang harmonies on that. Nice. So even on No Saints in the City, we had special guests. Like tonight, you said, is Scotty Griffin on lead guitar, from O'Reilly's LA Guns.
Oh, right.
And No Saints in the City had Alex Kane, former Enough's Enough.
Shark Island and
Shark Island.
Mark Knight from Bang Tango.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's cool.
To the Bowery.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
it's good for us. I mean, man, when you send a song to somebody you grew up watching on Headbangers Ball, and they tell you they like it enough and get excited about playing on it, it just gives the whole thing validity, and it gets you excited, because really Todd and I are writing songs, that we like to listen to too. It's not like we're both cranking Ghosts of Sunset in our car every day. But it is nice to have songs that you can be proud of and you like as a fan of music,
Right. And you guys are on Golden Robot also, right?
Correct.
How did that come together for you guys?
Well, I remember we wrote this EP, and we really, thought the songs were pretty good, and we tried to get into like Frontiers and what's the other label, John? Paris Records really wanted to put it out, but then we just talked to Mark, and he understood what we were doing. He knew we weren't a band per se, so he just really enjoyed the songs. So
have you guys
knew that we had enough experience in the game that our expectations weren't unrealistic. We didn't go to Golden Robot and go, well, listen, we'd like to be touring, for the whole summer with Whitesnake. We knew enough about the business to go, hey, we know we can find a market. We know we can find some fans. We know we've got good songs, and we work smart. And to be honest with you, we're a good band to have on your label because we can produce ourselves, we can record ourselves, we can mix ourselves for the most part.
You're self-contained.
Yes, very much so.
That's great, man. And have you guys thought about putting a band together for some maybe like live festival type thing?
Every day, dude. Every day.
Logistically is the hardest, and money.
Yeah.
I would say that the number one thing is everything is so cost prohibitive. It's money, 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 money. Todd and I are across the country from each other. I'm sure if we both lived in the same town, this conversation would be different. But again, Todd and I also, over these last 30 years, we have done the sleeping on people's floors, and we've done the every, crap hole in every town across the Midwest for years and years and years. So a few select festival things would be a lot of fun. To go out for 2 months and sleep on strangers' floors, I don't ever see that happening for us.
No.
We did talk about doing some acoustic gigs.
Yeah, some duo stuff, go out and do some small things together. And that'll probably happen at some point. And we've done that before. We went out and did cover gigs together too, just the two of us when Todd lived here. And those always go well. We have a good pool of songs we both know together. And of course, now we have all this material.
That's awesome, man. So in the meantime, what's the best place everyone can find all your music and see your videos and check you guys out?
All the social media stuff is /Ghost of Sunset. And then, we have a YouTube channel and all the streaming sites, and just search Ghost of Sunset.
Yep, we'll be there.
Bang. Even the YouTube videos, right? Those were fun. Some of those videos are pretty fun, right?
Some of them are cool, and some of them I gotta be honest with you. I watched the other day. I watched our pandemic video from Miles in Between, okay. And I could see in my face how awkward it felt. It was just such a weird time. We were just getting this pandemic thing was just kind of starting, and it was such a weird world. We were lucky that, Johnny Monaco did his bit, and Kent Slutcher from Luke Bryan's band played, and our buddy Brian Roth, who's a acclaimed producer and writer and musician, played keyboards for us. But I could see in my face, I was like, oh man, dude, you look so awkward right now.
That's so funny. So is there anything I failed to ask you guys that you might want to mention before we go?
Just thank you, man.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you to everybody, all the fans of Hair Metal Mixtape. Thank you for flying the flag too, man. We love this stuff, and it's not. I will tell you this: it's not ironic. It's not tongue in cheek. We are two guys who. I can say, and Todd will say this too, Poison and LA Guns and Rat and Motley and Quiet Riot. I mean, those were our Beatles and Stones and,
Absolutely.
And Elvis and all of that, so to see this music get respect again is really exciting, because we lived through the time, and you did too, when, it's like Dee Snider said, it was like being a specialist, a doctor who specializes in one thing and they find a cure for it,
Yeah. I mean, and I felt that the last 2 years because I'm a front of house live sound engineer. So dude, last 2 years I had no fucking career, it was just like, okay, so what do I do? That's actually how I started this show, because I was like, what the fuck am I going to do? I got to do something.
So what's okay, switching the interview. What's the best band you've mixed for? Best live band you've mixed for?
Personally?
Yep.
Fu Manchu.
Oh
I
yeah.
see the album behind you.
Yeah. I was on the road with them as a tour manager and front of house guy for like 6 years, I think, something like that.
Wow, man, cool.
Yeah, that
90s,
was fun.
Mid to late 90s band. Is that what they are?
Yeah. I mean, I was out with them in like the mid 2000s, but
Okay.
Europe is crazy with them, man. It's
Really?
lots of packed shows.
That's
Did
awesome.
you mixed for them and tour managed?
Yeah, that was most of my gigs, man. Like
Oh,
a lot of opening bands too. Like we opened for like Robert Plant, Alison Krauss, that Raising
wow.
Band tour. So that was
Yeah.
pretty cool to get to meet Robert Plant and Alison Krauss. Robert Plant was awesome because he remembered your name, which was scary. You know, he'd see you at
Right.
the lunch table and be like, you know, hey Gabe, and you're just like, what?
Hey, Bob.
Yeah, hey, Bob.
You're like, what? And just like stuffing salad in your mouth. You're like, oh, shit.
It's Bobby Plant.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
Bobby Plant.
That's killer, man. Wow. That's cool.
Yeah, so that's fun.
Yeah, you think? Yeah.
No envy here at all. No.
Yeah, no, I'm not jealous if that's what you think, Gabe, because I'm not.
Yeah, right. Come on, there's no, nothing like that. Come on. Those days are, I guess they're gone now. I mean, I have a 7-year-old kid. I'm not going back on tour, you know?
Welcome to our world,
here.
buddy.
Yeah.
Todd's got 2. I got a 14-year-old, and you know, we'll do some weekend warrior stuff at some point. I know we will, but to go out and be away from home for a couple months is,
Doesn't
you know,
even sound fun.
it's a young man's game.
Yeah, no,
you know,
yeah.
it's a young man's game, and you know what? There are bands out there doing it, and I salute them, and I think it's awesome. And I will say this: we're in a summer right now where there's some really live rock and roll out there, man. I mean, Tom Kiefer's out on the road. Enough's Enough's out. LA Guns. It's
Kiefer, LA Guns, and Faster Pussycat. They're doing that tour
great.
together. That's
Sonic
Yeah,
Slam.
Sonic
I'm gonna
Slam.
go see him here in Florida on like July 27th or something like that.
They're
Nice.
coming through Michigan too, and I keep kicking the idea around to go see it too. I mean,
Probably
I love
Detroit,
Tom
though.
Kiefer's band. Tom
Yeah.
Kiefer's band is just,
They're amazing.
they're the shit, man.
Yeah,
Really.
yeah. And my son's first concert is going to be the Motley Crue Def Leppard stadium
nice.
tour.
Nice.
So we got tickets for that for City Field in New York. So that'll be fun.
Killer.
Awesome, man.
That's
Yeah.
killer, man. Your first, wow.
My first
Def
concert
Leppard,
was
man.
Motley Crue '87, the Girls Goes Girls tour at East Rutherford Arena. You know,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Wow. Keeping the legacy alive, huh?
I mean, our first arena show. You know, I mean,
Right. Well, I'll tell you what, man, that seeing the arena tour will be a big one, man. And you know, some of the Leopard's going to be amazing as always.
Yeah.
Poison's always great. You know, Joan Jett's a rock and roll legend. Motley, to me, right now, they're the X factor.
I know anything can happen.
Anything can happen, but we're all pulling. We're all, you know, we're Motley
Hey, John.
fans, man.
John, what was your first concert? I don't even think I know.
My first concert was Cheap Trick and Ted Nugent
Woo!
Okay.
in 1982 or 3.
All right. Right.
Yeah. And what was yours, Todd?
Kiss and Ted Nugent at the LC Walker Arena in 1988, I think. Crazy Nights.
Crazy
Oh,
Nights
yeah,
tour. Kulik. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Cool.
His solo. I know it's crazy solo with his finger tapping. Oh my God. Guys, I can go on all night,
Yes, us too,
but
dude.
it's been an absolute pleasure getting to know you guys, and I'm so glad we were able to make this happen, man.
Yes,
Us
thank you
too.
very much.
Yeah,
no problem.
thank you.
So next time we got something new or something, man, let's do this again.
We would love it, man. We would love
Thanks,
it.
Gabe.
Yeah, Gabe, keep flying the flag, brother. Thank
Thanks,
you for
guys.
everything,
You
man.
guys are awesome.
All right. Take care, buddy.
All right, keep rocking, guys. Thank you.
You too, brother.
Yeah.
Have a good rest of your night. Take care.
You too.